Ryan Shazier was an All-American linebacker at Ohio State. The Pittsburgh Steelers drafted him in the first round. Over the next 4 years, he racked up nearly 300 tackles in the NFL, and he was named to the Pro Bowl twice. Ryan's football career was soaring. Then, in an instant, it ended.
After an injury on the field in 2017, Pittsburgh Steelers All-Pro linebacker Ryan Shazier faced the biggest challenge of his career, learning to walk again. For 3 years, with his family by his side, Ryan fought to get back to the game. Along the way, he realized God was preparing him for more than a return to football. In his book, Walking Miracle, Ryan shares his journey to recovery and how it prepared him for a renewed life after the game.
Ryan Shazier joins us now via Skype. Well, Ryan, we welcome you to the program today.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's been almost exactly 4 years since your life changed forever. Will you share with us what happened on December the 4th in 2017?
So on December 4th, it was we were playing Cincinnati Bengals. It was a regular game. It wasn't a regular game. It was a Monday night game, so it was a pretty big game. But when I played in that game, I wasn't even supposed to play. I had a high ankle sprain, but one thing I wanted to do, I wanted to continue to push forward and play in the game because I had a history of having some injuries, so I just wanted to be able to push through. On the play I got injured, it was just a routine tackle, a tackle I made 1,000 times before, and I actually felt it was pretty easy of a tackle to make. So I thought about the new rules that the NFL are trying to implement about not trying to use your head and try to tackle more with your shoulder. And when I was playing before, I didn't really try to hit people with my head or anything like that. I just went and tried to play the best I could and run as fast as I can to you and just make a great tackle. But this time I was like, oh, I can actually slow down and try to make a tackle. And I slowed down a little bit too much. And I put my head ended up going into his hip. And then it was pretty scary after that moment.
Shortly after your injury, you called your dad. What did you say to him?
Some of the first words I told my dad was, Dad, can you pray for me? And the reason I asked him that is before every game in high school, college, and professional, before every game, I wouldn't go on the field until I prayed with my father. And I wanted just him to be one of the last people I talked to that wasn't a teammate or a coach that I talked to on the field. And I asked him to pray for me because I knew that I would be able to get through this, but I know how strong our faith is. And we always talk to God before every situation, in the good and the bad. And I knew that it was going to be a struggle, but I just wanted him to pray for me in that situation. Did
you realize how serious it was right away?
No, I did not. One of the things that I struggle with is having a negative mindset. And I know like some people may say, what do you mean by that? I'm the one guy that's positive in every situation. It could be a hurricane coming and I could be like, hey, it's going to be a sunny day the next day. Or, you could be falling down and I'll be like, oh, something's going to catch you, so I'm that type of guy. I always see the good in every situation. So when I got injured, I felt that it wasn't as bad as it was. I thought it was just a routine injury that you might have in football. I thought it was something like a stinger. And in football, a stinger is you hit with your shoulders a lot, so your shoulder goes numb a little bit, but it comes back relatively smooth. And that's kind of what I thought was going on with my back. And then after a while, I noticed that it was a lot more serious than I thought it was.
Well, doctors actually gave you only a 20% chance of ever walking again. At one point, you asked God, why me? What did your dad say to that?
Yeah, so I would probably count on my hand how many times I said why me, because one of the things that I didn't want to do a lot of times is say why me, but there was times I questioned God and questioned God's motive in me getting injured. And a lot of times everybody think when things are going in the direction you want, that's God's purpose, that's God's way of fulfilling your dream, but also God's dream. But I think God allowed me to play football, to allow me to get what I wanted as well, but also to broaden my name so he can use my name to use his name. And I think that's the message that I got from it. And I started to ask, it wasn't more why me, but what's the meaning of this, Lord? Because when you start asking why me, you start looking back at all the things that could have happened. And I don't want to live in a could-have world, because in a could-have world, everybody's dreams are they're a billionaire or everything's perfect, and nobody lives in that world. So even the people who have everything going in the direction they want, they're going through a lot of adversity as well. So I don't like to try to use the why me as much.
One of the biggest turning points for you came about 10 days after surgery. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so about 10 days after surgery, I had my cousin there, and he's a very, very close friend, and I'm a role model to him. And one of the things that I struggled with is I had a urinary tract infection. I was pretty sick, and with me being sick, I couldn't really help myself. Or when you're feeling sick, sometimes you have to throw up, or you have to, go to the bathroom. And in this instance, he was there checking up on me, and I was pretty sick, and I ended up throwing up, and I threw up back onto myself. And I talk about this in my book, but that was kind of the weakest moment I felt in my injury, because for him, he always seen me, Ryan, the All-Pro, Ryan, the All-American. He seen me in high school when I was an All-American in high school, but he knew me when I was a kid. But he always seen my journey and how I continue to overcome adversity, overcome all these hard obstacles. And I was like a mentor to him, and I was such a strong figure to him. And for him to see me in that state, and then I end up throwing up, and you know how hospital beds are, they have the guardrails, and I ended up throwing up, but the guardrail, it hit that, and it hit me back in my face. And it really showed me how weak I was in that moment. And that was something that really, really got to me.
You formally announced your retirement in 2020. What are you doing now?
So some of the things I'm doing right now, which I'm really excited about, is I started the Ryan Shazier Fund for Spinal Rehabilitation, which allow other people who have spinal cord injuries to have the same support, the same resources that I once had, because I understand that everybody doesn't get the same amount of rehab, the same amount of support. And I want to allow people to get independence again. I'm blessed to be on a few podcasts and shows. One of the shows I'm on is with the hospital network that helped me, is UPMC. And it talks about people who've gone through adversity in their life, going through life-altering challenges, diseases, illnesses, and how they overcame them, like myself. And they're just regular people that people don't really know about. And then I also started a business, which I'm really excited about.
I know you're going to impact many, many lives, not just with your story, but with your concern and your support today. It's a wonderful story, Ryan, and thank you so much for writing Walking Miracle. It's a brand new book. It's available nationwide. And Ryan Shazier, thank you so much. God bless you in the work you're doing now.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be on here. Thank you for having me. And I think this book relates for anybody that's going through adversity and going through struggles right now. So I look forward to everybody checking it out.
Absolutely. It'll be a blessing. Thanks.